Yeah, what's going on here? Well, big shocker, another chair. This one is going to be quite interesting because I will show you how we will start with a very basic sketch like this layout, and then we will create our kind of like rough flow of the backrest being arced, as well as the seating area. And then, because we would like this to be a comfortable chair to sit on, also have a front area that is nicely arced, so for our legs to go over. Plus, we will take a look at variable radius, so from small to big at the center and small at the edge again. And then we will finish this with an exploration how we could model and explore actually a kind of like a lag system like this, so we can then put our shell or whatever onto it. And that's it. Okay, let's go. We will start first by setting the scene to inches, and then we will create a new sketch on the right scene. And here I will show you the dimensions I have. A horizontal line, then a vertical line that has a vertical height of 18 inches. Another line that is rotated 90 degrees to it. That line is 16 inches. And then from here down there, we draw one line. The angle is 110 and the height is 17 inches right now. Very good. And then here at this point, we have another line that goes up 16 inches and 100 degrees. So in this sketch, basically we know where the seating surface is, what's the relationship seating surface to backrest, and we have legs at the back that go pretty far back. So it's kind of like here. So when my hip is there, I'm really well supported. So this chair is not going to fall over backwards. Very good. So we would like to create now this chair that has this nice wooden bent plywood. The front is rounded, the center is rounded, the backrest is rounded, and maybe the outside rounding is smaller than the inside. So how can we try to do this? The sketch is actually my, how could I say that? Just my proportional template. I'm not really going to model with the sketch. So I will make myself a new sketch. There we are. And I will try something out first. So I will, to have a little bit of a reference, project this in. And that is good because the front doesn't really change. And then here I can bring a line over, very good. And then I simply re-enter the values. So what's going on here? Oh, there's a perpendicular constraint. Let's remove it. So D, thank you, 100 degrees. Very good. We said this should be 90 degrees. And then D for dimension. This is 16 and this is, come on, 16, 2. Very good. Okay. So this is my center now. And I know later at this point, I will move down a little bit. So if I want, I can do this right now. What about 95? That actually moves it up. So I just moved this down by 5 degrees. I don't know if this is actually going to work well. Who knows? This actually shows me now this point is much lower. So maybe let's make this 17 or 18. We can later remove material easily. Very good. Okay. So this maybe we call center, and then we could call this framework. We know by extruding, we can create a nice flat surface, 8 inches each, very nice, but we want to arc this one. So we need now on the left and the right side, now opposite obviously, new profiles. So let's create those. So before we create the sketch, we need to create the construction plane. Left mouse button, click and hold, select the YZ 8 inches, and then right click, repeat, click and hold, YZ minus 8 inches. You see also here on how I nicely group my commands. Now I will create a sketch here. I will just project the front piece in. That's actually what I will use. I'm not sure about this, if this is perfect. So I will not project these elements in, but simply redraw this by hand. And I don't know yet really all the values. So I will, as you can see here, put in some whatever things. There we are. Very nice. And then was this 90? Yeah, 90 degrees. And then maybe this 100. Okay, so here I have 100, and then this is my center one that goes a tick backwards. 16, 16.5. I try to make this line up height-wise. Okay, yeah, this is maybe not too bad. Okay. So when I now hide actually framework, there's one problem I start noticing. Here's this corner, here's this corner. This will dip down, but essentially I would like this corner to be more here. So I can right click and say show dimension. And then here, what happens when we set this to 16.5? Ah, this is much better. Maybe 17. Good. Very good. This is then maybe, we can just call this right. Then for the center, right click, hide dimensions, new sketch, there. And this one we can call left. And because we did all the work on this one here, we just project this in. Very good. Why should I draw this by hand again? So now I can go ahead and do a study. Okay, so you to you and you to you. Yeah, that looks actually pretty good. How is this from the side? Yeah, very nice. This doesn't have any lumber support. We will make one share of lumber support too. We can do a fillet, but instead of a constant, let's go with a variable fillet. So we set this one 1 inch and this one 1 inch. Then we can go here to the center and say 4 inches. Ooh, 3 inches. Okay. I did this actually small on purpose, just to show you how we can play with the fillet command. And that's also why the sketch is very brutally basic. I can make this more complex, but why should I? It's not necessarily really necessary. Very good. I start noticing I'm heavily influenced by the TV show Borderlands, actually Netflix. It's a really nice detective show with a pretty nerdy main guy, but it plays in Scandinavia, and I'm starting noticing I'm subconsciously rebuilding the Scandinavian furniture here, or the shapes at least. So when this is going to be the surface we will sit on, one point here we would like this to bend down a little bit. So I will select this feature and remove it, and also here this loft I remove, because the shape we have there right now is actually really nice. To make a nice rounding, I need to have some sort of an an arc or something that continues there. The easiest way is actually this. We go to here, there we are, and then I draw a line, maybe to here. Very good. Let's give this a dimension. Whoops, wrong dimension type. 2 inches, let's say 2.5, and the angle here 110 maybe. Yeah, 110 is actually good. Yeah, 100 would also be okay. You see, this is the line where later the pipe will be, and then here will be the arc that goes in. 110 is actually good. 105. Who knows? We can, that's the beauty of the parametric modeling. We can always adjust this later. Okay, good. So this now we have. That looks pretty nice. So loft all this. There we are. And you noticed I didn't project here the lines in for the sketch. I could do this if I want to. Or could simply now go, we never looked into the sweep command. In SketchUp, this is called follow me. I can now select this line and say follow or move this line along this path. Very good. So you see there, we actually created a nice extension of that. Then these two surfaces we will stitch together, and then we can go back and take a look at the filleting. 2 inches, 2.5. Now it still works. Okay, kind of cool. Yeah. And then plus, can we do a variable for here? Yes, we can. 3 inches, and then this one here 4 inches, and this one 4 inches. No, actually, there should be different. So the outside is smaller and the inside is bigger, because obviously that's where our hip will be. Very nice. Okay, looks pretty good. Maybe let's see what happens when we take this and remove it, and also there. Can we actually put a new variable fillet onto here? So there. Maybe this one we make 2.5. Okay. And then this one we make 2. And this one we make 2. What about we make this one 3? Yeah. We get kind of very thin here at the end. But you notice how, because the variable fillet, this surface actually starts to arc a little bit. Here definitely this looks good. This might actually be a little bit too childish, so maybe we just go to 2.5, not to make it as big, but maybe have a little subtle, something is changing there. And then here we, instead of 2, we change those to 3. Okay, very good. Yeah, look at that. That looks actually pretty nice. Okay, good. Then, because we have now a surface, we can go ahead and give this a thickness. There we are. Half an inch of bent plywood material is sufficient. This actually grows to the outside, so we need to do this negative, so it grows to the inside. Since what we sketched out, that is already the height where we want to sit. We don't want to move ourselves half an inch up. Very good. Cool. Now the question is this actually, this angle way too big? Again, this is now the cool thing about the whole design history, show dimensions. Well, what about we set this to 95? And this is actually too equal. What about 97? So there's a little bit of an angle. And because one line is a little bit longer, we have these points actually moved. We still get this arc too. So when I hide this there, you can see this is very triangular, and then here, this is nearly parallel, but because this point and this point, they are not centered, these three lines, even if they would all have the right angle, from here, they look, well, like a C. Okay. Very nice. Yeah, this starts to take shape actually pretty good. Something here interestingly is happening. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, we'll just keep it this way. That's because of the rounding we used. Good. I would say at this point we could go ahead and simply round these edges a little bit. Oh, for constant radius. Don't really like how this looks down there. Whoops, 1 inch. That's what I want. Yeah. You see here, I had this edge, and when I set this to 2, there you can see it creates a bad problem. So 1 inch is fine. Yeah, okay. We just want to round this a little bit, so when we put our palm over here, or our inner hand, it doesn't hurt. Very nice. So we created a shell. Now it's maybe time to think about how do we do the legwork. Before we move forward, adding actually the legs, we might want to clean up this design a little bit. You might not necessarily see this, but I will select these faces, and from here, it all looks normal. But if we look from here, then you can see, oh, we can see actually these faces from the sides. And if I select this face, even there you can see a little bit of that piece is visible. From the top view, that's also nice to see how this is kind of wider and then it gets smaller. And the question now is, do we really like it that way? I can take this, let's assume this is actually made out of wood. I can take this raw piece and put it on a sander, and then we left and right, we sand it nice and flush. That's what we're going to do. So I will create a sketch simply on this plane. Then I will go to the rectangular tool, click on the grid here, click on the grid there. This is 16 inches. If I want, I can make sure this is all perfectly centered. There we are, very good. And then I will go to extrude and extrude this one through there and then switch the command to intersect. So I keep just what's in there. And then when I take a look from here, yeah, that's nice and clean. The fillet here is garbage. And well, that's because I cut through the fillet, which means this has to go after the extrude. Then there's a warning because the command actually forgot which edge to round. So go back, hold the Apple or Control key and clean this up. Very good. Yeah, that looks really nice. Close. You see, there's a little bit of a facet. So what do? We have actually this really to 16 inches and it needs to be smaller. Well, then we make the piece smaller. Well, the trick here is actually super easy. These two construction planes, we simply make a tick wider. Maybe it's just 8.1. Not too much. Let's see. Yeah, that did it. So then we do the same on the other side. So we are overbuilding the piece a little bit. We make it wider than we need because afterwards we just trim it down. I hope this was also a good exercise, or not good exercise, demo to show how good really this timeline is, because we can modify how we build the geometry when later we see problems and we need to fix it. But I would say at this point now, the shell is actually pretty good. So now we can go ahead and add the legs to it. So yeah, how do we do the leg? Legs are going to be quite interesting because we can place it to the side, but then we also have to put something below that connects the left and right leg, and the chair here dips down a little bit. So the best method now would be to start working, how could I say that, from the outside. So we're making a new construction plane here. Very good. So 8 inches is then where this directly would end, but we want the leg to be a little bit outside. So maybe 8.5 inches. Then on this plane, we create a sketch and then we project these edges here in. Very good. So now I can exactly see where these lines are, and the geometry I can hide for the moment. Very good. So maybe here and there and there and there and back, I draw this line. I would like parallel this one to here, but there it doesn't click, and that's because while this looks like a line, it's not a line. But when we draw a line over it and zoom in, we can see it nearly is. Okay, so that means this line we projected, we delete, and we just keep the line we drew ourselves. This is pretty much close enough. The tolerance is so minimal, it doesn't really matter. Then we can create an offset, maybe 0.5. Okay, very good. We don't know this yet. And here we might want to put in a radius or a fillet. There's a fillet command. I don't really know yet the amount. We will figure this out just in a moment. 3. Okay, good. Can we actually do an offset of this? Let's see. Yeah, we can. Let's say 0.5. Very good. So with this 0.5, we can actually, when we drag this over, get an idea of maybe how big or small this radius could be. You see how when I overlap this, I'm eyeballing this. Very good. We don't want this to actually snap to it, so I get close, press M, and then only slide it. This way, not by accident, I glue maybe this point to this point. Okay, very good. So this way I made sure that this actually nicely is parallel, or not parallel, it's a curve, but essentially this arc has the same shape like this one. In case it would grow bigger, it would be, yeah, matching it. No, there you see it. Okay. And I made this a little bit smaller, so now I can always just preview this, or 4.5. Whoops, what did I do? 0.45. Okay. This is all pretty good. This one here is not so good, so let's bring this back maybe to there. Looks like this might be a 3.5. Yep. Okay. Very good. Then we can specify what angle do I want when I go down along the grid. I'm plotting this, kind of like there. Okay. Very nice. So let's press stop sketch first. And then now we can think about it. How are we going to build this? Maybe with the pipe command. Turn chain off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Section size. It's kind of like not really the perfect name. It's more diameter. 0.75. And then because it doesn't touch anything, it's a new body. Okay. Not too bad. That looks pretty good. If we want, we could go ahead and then say, well, maybe we do a nice fillet here. Go back to this command, section size, select it all. Okay, now we have a complete closed piece. Okay, yeah, not too bad. Gives this the legs actually a little bit more volume. But let's say I would like not to have this arc in there, like here. Or wait, actually we say back here. Good, so I delete this. So how do I get the original element back? Or maybe this one, I just want to go down to here and just out of fun, we move this one to here. So first you notice that things move a little bit. This endpoint, I can just lock to there. And then this happens. Love it when this happens, but okay. I can reposition these things. Very good. What's actually the angle? You can set an angle between these two lines. 110. Escape. And then this point I move and that drags the other one. Okay. And then this point I would like to be horizontal. So you horizontal to here to zack. It brings it down. Okay. Let me go to here to a side view and recreate something similar. There's number 1 and there's number 2. You see extend. How with this extend we, well, rebuild it. Pretty cool actually. Okay. Or we just move the points. And that's actually quite interesting because a piece is kind of missing. And now here it says, hey, stuff is missing. Okay, here. Piece of the profile. Oh yeah, we have to push this along. It's like the follow me again. Very nice. Okay, so we have this also on the other side. Easy. Mirror. Body. This one over to there. Sock. There we are. Okay. Now the big question is, how do we connect this? Well, ideally, because this is all round, round stock, we can simply make pipes under it too. But how do we actually do this? Because when we take a look at this view and maybe go to here, turn this now. Yeah, this is good. So here's the pipe that we can see here. We can connect it, but here we cannot connect it, or it would run through well, the seat. So the pipe needs to go down a little bit, and ideally here probably 2. But how do I perfectly do this? This sounds a little bit complicated, but it's actually quite easy. So we will hide this one first, and since I need to put in an arc here, I will do the following. I will create myself a construction plane here to the other side and say, was it minus 8.5? Before I continue this, now we need to memorize values a lot. So let's go to change parameter. Let's see what we have here. Plane. Plane 20, 8 minus 5, plane 19. So here, let's say we call this leg plane. And then here, for this value, we type in leg plane. And the main reason why I did this is when I change this value, this other plane will update. If I do this correctly. I have to do this negative. Yep. Okay. So negative this positive value. So there you see, there it is. So when I go to this and say added this feature and say, no, just make this 5. There you see, there's other one at 5. Okay. So it's a little bit easier just on your brain. Now we put a sketch onto there. Very good. And then I will here project this one in. So now there I have actually this this line too. I need to have one more sketch at the center. That's important too. There we are. And also here I will project this one in, so roughly I know where the line is, and I will do this intersect this place for me, so I know where is actually my curve. This is actually this line here projected in, and then this is the actual piece. This helps actually quite a lot. And also here, because this is not a straight thing, I will delete this and just patch in a new line. Very good. And I can make this construction. I will delete this for the moment. It might be not that much necessary. Okay, now you might ask yourself, yeah, what's going on here? The next step is going to be actually very, very easy. Okay, so I will go ahead and create a construction plane. Chain off on this line. Maybe somewhere here at the front. Maybe at 80%. Then I go right click construction plane there and say this at 20%. Okay. Then let's maybe start with the back one. That's going to be more interesting. Here now I would like to create myself a nice C. So you see where actually this line is and this line. And I need to find a point where this line touches the grid. So this might actually sound kind of complicated, but think about it. All we do is work in two-dimensional sketches or planes, and how do they intersect? So where does this line and where does this other sister or brother line intersect this new sketch? There we are. So there I have these 2 points. And you see? Very good. And now I can go ahead and say, cool, from there to here to there, draw myself this curve. Press escape and then no, here, show this body. Very good. So there you can see how far or where actually this point has to be. This point also should be vertical aligned, so it doesn't go left and right, but only up and down. Very nice. When we show the 2 legs, there we are, and then go pipe, EU pipe, smaller diameter because we have to weld this one onto these legs. Join. There we are. Okay. So obviously this is way too low. So M, and then we can adjust this a little bit. It's actually still way too big. Now we don't necessarily know, does it cut it or does it not cut it? Let's take a look at this plane and then we add a section cut. And there we can see now that we're actually really at the moment where they start intersecting. In real life, there would be a little spacer in between. And so over the pipe and between the wooden part, and then we put a drill through. So actually the way how this is really good. So we can keep it that way. Then this section view we can turn off. Maybe turn off all this. Show our sketches again. So I need this one. This one is good. This one. Where's that other plane? This one we can hide. Good. So one sketch on this plane. Then again, I need to find the left and right starting points where this would intersect this stuff here. And then chuck, chuck, chuck. Okay. Very good. Pipe here again. Yeah, one, maybe show the 2 parts. Okay. I notice actually here it does not join. You see this? These are not joined. So because we have to maybe do a manual join afterwards, I will quickly go ahead and change each one to just new body. So I just double clicked on each feature. And also now here, let's take a look at the section on this plane. Okay. Press M and then we can move this up. Actually here in this case, it nearly is a straight line. But it bends just a notch. Yeah. And there you can see this is not 100% straight. Okay, cool. So we actually now created ourselves the pipes. We could cut, drill the holes, put them all into each other, and then going to have a little bit of fun with the welder and weld them together. Yeah, and then we can continue thinking about, is this really such a good idea? Maybe I just like this idea again. Where's my first pipe? There. So this is the sketch. Very good. Okay. Here. Bring this to there. And then we will fillet this again. And there we are. Oh, that's quite interesting. What are you doing? Edit. Oh, it's maybe it's not following the sketch here. That makes sense. And update it. You see, and then all the rest should be updated. Pretty good. Yeah, no? I think so too. If we want to make this design, by the way, as a little tip, really perfect. Also here, we need to have some sort of a cross connection. This cross connection can be aligned maybe in the back or in the front. Maybe we can do this in the back. This might actually be a good exercise to figure out. So how do we do this is actually in this case quite easy because this line, oh, actually that's another good thing. You see this pipe actually grew down, which means this is not correct. This whole thing has to be 0.25 off the ground because I think that is what the pipe is. Oh, this is actually another really nice example of how could we use this. So this is D219, but this is way too complicated. So let's go to change parameter and then we're 219. So here we can call this pipe main, copy, very good. And now here and here, we add a distance, but a vertical one. You see that? Okay. I would like this to be pipe main. That moved the whole piece a little bit forward. Unfortunate. Okay. Let's see. Can we... First, we give these two lines a radius. Let's make this nice and clean. 91.25. Escape, and then can we drag this back? Yeah, there we are. We can drag this to there. There we are. Very good. So click OK. When you see, whoa, there's this gap. Why is this happening? Well, we made this distance the full size of the pipe. This actually has to be half of it. And then this jumps again. This is hilarious. So how do we prevent this jumping? This point basically only goes up or down. So we can select these 2 points, press D, and then here we specify a horizontal distance that actually now should prevent this to jump as much. Yeah, there it is. Very good. Okay, cool. So the trick now is if we change the size of the pipe and say 0.25. You see that, how it goes down? Beautiful, no? You can work this way. You don't have to work this way. I'm simply here providing you an options how you can structure your work when designing. I leave this actually at 3/4 of an inch. It's a little bit thicker, but 1/2 of an inch is just too thin either. Good. So with this done, now we can position maybe a circle there. With all this done, I will simply make a sketch at the end. Very nice. And so how do I figure out really where is this the midpoint? So somewhere here I just draw a circle. Very good. And then this circle, yeah, what did we select there? 0.5, I think. for those here. I could go, for example, again to show you now how I also would work to standardize things. So here's pipe 4, section size. Yeah, so this is maybe now pipe support. And then where's the next pipe? Pipe 5, that's the following command. Very good. There we are. And then in this sketch here, this dimension, I also say, well, you be pipe support. So when I change the value for pipe support, all these things will update. Now this I can position here somewhere, but how do I figure out the correct height? Here's a little trick. We could do this actually via the sketch. So I project, press P, this into my center sketch. Then I can drag this onto it and simply move it left or right. This is one option. It's actually a pretty easy option. Or I could also say everything else here I hide. Very good. And then I go D for dimension and say, so the height should be pipe main, but divided by 2. Okay. And if we show this other sketch here, there you see. That's actually perfect on it. Okay, now we can drag this around wherever we want. There we are. Show this one. And this one, M, we just bring back. Cool. Then last thing, extrude. We do this symmetrical and extrude, run it into it. So it cuts. That's perfect. And then we switch this to join. Yeah. So now actually when there's a kick or something against the legs at the bottom, this will actually prevent the joint here to get stress and at one point maybe to break. Perfect. Yeah, there's actually our bent plywood chair with a metal wire lag system, which is now a little bit more elaborate. And going back to one question or comment a student had today, everything what I showed here right now, it literally is just one way how you could structure modeling this. When you really know what you want to design, very often it's very easy to just plot out your path to success. Sometimes when you don't know what you want to do or you have a rough idea, but then while modeling, you start noticing that changes or shapes need to be changed, then, well, we have to rethink how do we build everything. The reason why I point this out is just to say that the way how I did this here is just one way. You don't have to only use it. You can use it and you might not use it, or you might use it. And there's something right or wrong about it. It's just one possible avenue, and that's all. And even with design to design, it will be different. And if you're interested to know, I actually constantly even change the way how I model because, well, I discover new ways to optimize it. So it is not a stagnant thing and will evolve with time too. Peace out.